Thanks for stopping by. I'd like to preface this video by saying it is not a knitting tutorial, but it means to have something playing in the background while you work on your own project. If you're like me and really enjoy having something on while you work, sometimes the content you like is very visually engaging and you're several hours in and haven't gotten nearly as far along in your project as you would have liked to. So that's where I come in. If you're new here, welcome. And if you're returning, welcome back. Happy Monday. I'm hoping that we're all having a good day. A lot different than last Friday when I had my little rant about the predicament I'm in at work. But we just got the announcement last week that we are full steam ahead with having more people around our facilities and everything coming in early 2021. However, we're going to be, or we as in the administration and all of the higher ups are going to be continuing to keep an eye on things to decide what will happen. But right now they have formally announced that we have like a 20-page document on what's to be expected of everybody come early next year when we will be in person again. So in the meantime, I have just come to, I don't know, I wouldn't say come to terms with the news, but it's further solidified that it's pertinent that I decide if I will continue my efforts to find, safer employment elsewhere or continue to ride it out, wait and see. It's still early, and with the holiday being last week, there were so many people traveling. I'm not too sure that we'll still continue with those plans to have everybody back in person, but it's up to the state too to make the call if they will restrict businesses as far as like how many people they can have inside at one point in time. And if that restriction comes down harder than it already is, then of course where I work will have to scale back their plans as well to comply with the law. But if not, then they're just going to take the risk and hope for the best based on other businesses that are of the same kind of size and makeup of ours, like I mentioned last week. So with that, it's currently Saturday afternoon where I am, so day 3 of the 4-day weekend, being off on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday for Thanksgiving, and it is what it is. I am currently working on my cousin's son's sock. If you guys remember, we were working on this previously, and I'm just going to continue working on this week with you guys. I have my brother's sock downstairs. I just started doing the heel flap. Well, I set up for the heel flap last night, Friday night, but I started the heel flap this afternoon and should be at least halfway done with that sock probably by this evening. I'm working on his sock with a worsted weight yarn, the Barraco Comfort line. It's like acrylic and nylon, I think, or acrylic and polyamide or something like that. It's not 100% acrylic, but there's like a little bit of something else in there. And I used it, when did I use it? 2 years ago with my cousin's son's scarf that I made for him. So we are now have a little bit of that left over. I'm going to use it for my brother. Hope that I have enough for 2 socks of a man's, like, I don't know, like 11-ish, 12-ish size foot. And I think I will. I'm not knitting his ankle very long. He has like a 15 rounds of 2x2 rib for his ankle, and then it goes right into the heel after that. And today, since it's Saturday, at the time of filming, it is Small Business Saturday. So in the comments, let me know if you took advantage of any Small Business Saturday deals or any Black Friday deals, or because this video is going to be uploaded on Monday, any Monday, Cyber Monday deals. Let me know if there's anything that you took advantage of. I'm not in a shopping mood. I mean, I've been buying a little bit here and there that has caught my eye, and I just did my birthday shopping. I didn't buy much from that, but I'm just thinking about, like, what kinds of yarn stash do I want to develop now that I feel like I'm pretty established at this point as a knitting person, as a knitter. I have a variety of yarns, variety of fibers and weights, but like I've mentioned before, and thinking of gifts and stuff, kind of want to build on my DK, like my sport weight, so like a little bit heavier than a sock weight. Like, I love sock yarn. This knitting socks has been so fun, but I kind of want to think of, when I'm knitting for other people, to get through them quickly when I have a deadline. So I'm thinking more of like bulkier, not even like bulky weight, even though that went through lickety split with those bulky weight socks. I'm done with my aunt and my uncle's socks now. I just have my partner's mom and dad to knit for, but I have to look at my yarn again and see if I can use it for them. I think I can. I want to say that, like, my partner's dad has a foot maybe one size larger than my uncle, and I still had some bulky weight left over from knitting my uncle's socks, so I'm sure I can knit my partner's father's socks without any problem. But for my aunt, I literally used like the whole little bundle of that Karen yarn for her, and I know I need to have some left over to send her, which I will, but I want a little bit more than what I have right now. So I'm gonna look at I don't have any other purple yarn, and I know, like, my partner's mom's favorite color is purple, so she'd really love purple socks. And the blanket that I made for them last Christmas has purple in it, so I think it'd be so cute for her to have like some house socks that match the blanket that I made for them, so she can cozy up with her wool blanket and her thick, squishy purple socks and just have a nice time with a book or something. But I'm not sure. I'm gonna see about that one. Oh, and since Thanksgiving is a holiday and had to slave away in the kitchen on Thursday, so Wednesday I worked. We didn't have a half day or anything, so when I had a work meeting in the morning, and after that I had lunch, and then I headed over to my physical job, and I was working on some stuff that I have to do in person there, and got home. I was so tired. I took a nap. I got up around 9, and then I started prepping for Thursday. So I had to cut veggies, peel potatoes, chop things. I had to make the dessert because I needed to free up the oven for all of the other things the next day. I had to leave the bread out so it could get hard for the stuffing slash dressing, depending on who you're talking to. I call it dressing where I grew up, and my partner calls it stuffing. So it's a thing. It's a regional thing, I think, because it's literally just a casserole of soggy bread with spices and celery and onion, and it's not actually put in the turkey like stuffing is. So it's not stuffing because you don't stuff anything with it. But it's the same concept of like what the materials are. It's just how it's prepared or presented, I guess. So yeah. But yeah, so Thursday was like, all of the labor of making all of the food, and it's so sad because you spend all day. So I get up, I get the turkey on around 10, we eat around 4, and I'm prepping everything up until then. So like everything's getting cooked in stages. So turkey is the thing that's in the oven the whole day, and then you get everything ready for the next meal, and then you have your trays set out, like your candied yams, your stuffing, your macaroni for baking. Everything's in a tray and it's ready to go. So then as soon as the turkey's done, you take the turkey out, and that has to rest for like 20 to 30 minutes. So while that's resting, you have your candied yams, your stuffing, and your macaroni all in the oven cooking. So then around 35 minutes after the turkey has settled, then you take those out, and then you turn on the oven again, because I have rolls, and I have to put the marshmallow on top of the yams so that it melts and stuff. And so then you do that, and while that's cooking, you put because my part I don't know if I mentioned like earlier, my partner had told me they wanted 6 different dishes for Thanksgiving. When I said only pick 3, they picked 6, and I'm like, that's whatever. Okay, so they didn't actually mention dessert, and they didn't mention any vegetable. Like everything they wanted was starch. So I threw together some asparagus, which is literally just I bought a package of them from the store that you can throw in the microwave to steam. And because I didn't want to eat the mashed potatoes, I had cauliflower mash instead, so I cooked that after. But, pretty much everything was ready when it was supposed to be, like timing-wise, but it was just preparing everything. Even though I cut and peeled everything the night before, I still had to, like, assemble it and make sure it was ready and fresh by the time it was whatever the turkey was done. And after that, the other dishes had to be put in the oven. So it was just a whole day thing. So of course you eat. Eating's like what, 30 minutes of consumption after you've been in the kitchen for 6-7 hours. Then you have to put everything away, carve the rest of the turkey up and put it in little containers and divvy out the leftovers. So it was just a long day. So yesterday, Friday, I slept the whole day. I was exhausted from 2 days, well, like a day and a half, essentially, of prep work and preparing and all of that, and washing dishes and putting stuff away and making room for the next thing and all of that jazz. I'm like, forget it. Like, I was thinking about filming with you guys then, but I'm like, I am tired. So I went to sleep, and I stayed in bed until like 4. And it was so dark when I woke up. I thought that I slept until the next day. I'm like, what time is it? And my partner was like walking around and stuff. I was like, oh, it's like 4 something. But, now with it being darker earlier, it was already dark. And I'm like, all right, I guess I'm going to get up now. And So I just had a little bit of leftovers and continued working on my brother's sock. Looked online at some sales and things. I had so many emails from like Black Friday deals and holiday deals, and I was just going through all of those emails and deleting stuff and just kind of looking around. But yeah, so that was my Friday, and then I went right back to sleep. And then I woke up around 9:30 today. My partner got a phone call from a friend who needed like help fixing their computer, so they were talking to them a little bit, and I finally got out of bed around, I don't know, like 11. I was just looking on my phone and stuff, and got out of bed, took a shower, and went downstairs and had some coffee with a little bit of the cake that I made for dessert the other night, and had some celery, and then I'm like, I think I'm ready to film now. And that is where we are. But all of that just to roundabout say that I have been looking online at some small business Saturday deals at my local yarn shops, and they're not really local to me, but they are in my state, and I have visited them before in person back when it was the yarn crawl that I participated in. So I was like, that's fun. And I don't really have anything in mind that I want, but I did, like, I was trying to get on this subject earlier, wanted to say that I am thinking of just buying more of like the sport weight and DK weight yarn so that I can knit socks faster for friends and family, or work on other projects like mittens and gloves and things like that, maybe some hats, so that I have like my smaller projects ready to go, following hopefully the plan of having myself together next year with a schedule and a regimen, so that I can make sure I am not like right now as I am right now, knitting feverishly this skinny itty bitty sock for a young man whose feet grow faster than an evergreen tree. And I'm sure as soon as he puts these socks on Christmas the next day, he's gonna need another sock 2 sizes larger because he's a bean sprout. You know how kids are, they grow so dang fast. So I'm a little bit leery about making these socks. However, I am knitting these a little bit bigger. I mentioned earlier on that I'm making his socks bigger because I know he will grow, and I want to make sure he gets some good use out of these before they're too small, because I'm putting some effort into them. And I don't think they're like, I mean, there's one thing if you knit baby clothes or a baby blanket where it can be passed down to either other relatives, or, you know, if that person decides to have children one day or adopt or foster and they're little, then they can use the same clothes for the little kid, you know, the other person in their family who will at some point be the same size and age that fits with the clothing. But socks, I don't know. Do people pass down socks to their kids? I don't have any children, and I haven't had any socks handed down to me. Only clothes like shirts and pants and dresses and bedding and stuff like that, but never socks. Or shoes for that matter. I've borrowed shoes, and I've had shoes gifted to me, but it wasn't anything that was like passed down in that sense, so I'm not sure how people do hand knit socks. So I don't know if he's going to take care of them enough to pass them down to his son or daughter. They're neutral colors, so anyone can wear them, but considering how big these are, if he ever does have children, I don't know if they're going to be able to fit these. And I don't know if there's anybody else Well, honestly, because they were kind of like, they're a little bit smaller than my uncle, but because they stretch, I'm sure my uncle could wear these afterwards if my cousin grows so much that he can't wear them anymore. And he can just give them to my uncle because my uncle's feet aren't growing because he's a grown up and he's done growing. So his feet will stay the same size. So I guess there's that. That can be the workaround if it has to come to it. Now, my cousin has a boyfriend, and he's like Paul Bunyan, like he's a tall guy, and I don't know. I haven't made anything for him. I haven't actually met him in person yet. I haven't met my brother's fiance in person either, but I've talked to her a lot, and I'm already aware of like her shoe size, which is why I was able to make her socks twice now. But the man in my cousin's life, I don't know what size shoe he wears. I imagine he probably wears like a 13 or 14 maybe, because he's like even taller than my brother. My brother's like in a like an 11 or 12 size shoe, something like that. So he probably has bigger feet than my brother. But I don't want to jinx it, but it's like, do I knit him socks and then they break up or something? I don't think they'd break up before Christmas. They've been dating for like, I think 3 years now, and they already live together, so I don't think that's gonna happen anytime soon. And then if I felt like that, then I wouldn't have knit anything for my brother's fiance either, but at least they've been together a lot longer than my cousin and her boyfriend have, so I feel like a little more stable about that. But you never know. People can date for a whole long time and then it just doesn't work out, and then you're like, what the heck happened? But you never know because you don't know what's going on behind closed doors. But I don't know. I guess my point, all of that is to say that I don't know if I want to try to squeeze in another gift for him. And because the socks are taking so long, do I even bother with socks? Or do I knit him something and it's not even like the rest of the family? Because everybody else is getting socks. So then if he got something that wasn't socks, would he feel just as grateful, or would he think that I'm like ostracizing him because he didn't get socks and everybody else got socks? I mean, he's a grown man. Would he really look into it that much? But here I am overthinking it. I don't know. I just talked to my aunt, but I didn't even think about asking her, what size shoe he wears, because she would know. She knows everything. Okay, well, I think I'm going to stop here for this video. This is supposed to be 8 inches long before I start to decrease for the toe, but holding it up to my hand is not even 8. I think my hand's like 6 inches long or something like that, like from the base of my palm to the tip of my middle finger. Probably like 6 or 7. So I still have a while to go before I need to start thinking about the toe. So that is where we are. Thank you so much for listening and watching, and I will see you, well, hypothetically, see you theoretically, figuratively, I guess is the word, figuratively see you on Wednesday. Bye.